Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Behind the Veil, a show that provides insight into the world of weddings. I'm your host, Keith Willard. Welcome back. Today, we're going to be talking about DIY brides, the do's and don'ts, DIY renting, and we have an amazing guest. But before I get to that, I do want to talk a little bit about a program change that we're putting into our season 2. One of the things that we realized about season 1 is that some of the best stuff that we talked about was, our own little interactions between the Behind the Veil crew. So this year, we've decided that we're going to increase the amount of content over the hour, just to make sure that you get a real world view and get to hear interesting topics, get to hear from interesting people. And then afterwards, we're going to talk a little bit about our local community, maybe some local gossip, maybe not too much. But anyway, so everything that we can do to helping obviously increase the enjoyment that everybody's been having over the last year. So first of all, let me introduce Marcy Gutenberg with An Affair to Remember by Marcy. Hi, Marcy. Welcome to season 2.
Hello.
It's good to see you. And then, of course, there's Brooke Logan Stoner. Hi, Brooke.
Hello, everyone.
Hi,
Right on time as always. So, ladies, today we're going to be talking about the DIY weddings, right? And the do's and don'ts. And so today's guest is Marie Kubin, who is the CEO and founder of Rent My Weddings. And let me just bring her on in. Hi, Marie.
Hey.
Oh my goodness. So thank
Welcome.
you so much for being part of the show. It's really, really just, we cannot say thank you enough. And especially this particular topic, because DIY, do it yourself, is bigger than ever. And I can tell you from a vendor perspective, when I hear DIY, I'm like, oh no, or, I'm like, do they really want to do that? But I mean, considering that you are the nation's largest online event retail company, I mean, that's no small thing.
Yeah, DIY has definitely gone beyond what anyone thinks of when they hear those letters. So, it's not just crafty stuff that you can make on your own. It's, it's now rentals and huge big ticket items that you can do as a do-it-yourself now.
Right. Well, and the thing is when people talk about online rental, right? When you're talking about online rental, a lot of people don't really understand that concept, and you guys do a lot. We had talked a little bit offline about the fact that your biggest piece is uplighting, which I know is a favorite of both of ours. So walk me through the process. I'm a bride. I am looking to rent some uplighting. What would be the process?
Yeah, well, it's really easy. All you would do is just go on our website. There's a whole page for uplighting. So if you want to learn about it, you can see pictures, read about it. There's quantity estimators, so you can figure out exactly how many uplights you'll need for your venue. And once you've decided how many uplights that you want, just click the button, put in your event date, and that's all there's to it. You'll fill out your information where you want the lighting delivered. And then we take care of scheduling that delivery so that you have everything guaranteed for delivery at least 2 days before the wedding.
Wow.
And and then afterwards, you're just going to put everything back in the same box, use a prepaid return label, and FedEx will pick it up for return.
I mean, that sounds so easy, to be honest, when you think about it. But, what are some things that, some tips that you can give some brides out there? Because there are some do's and don'ts when it comes to doing it yourself, right? And that's one of the things that we talked about specifically when we were putting this show together is, what are some massive don'ts when you are doing it yourself?
Yeah, so I guess some of the don'ts would be, making sure that you're not using something that's not suited for your venue or the time of day. So lighting is amazing, but you do want to keep in mind it's not going to really work during the daytime. So if you're having a daytime wedding, you don't want to be renting uplighting or monogram lights because they're just not going to have that same effect as if you're doing a nighttime event.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And same with weather. So you want to make sure that you've got decor that's going to fit with your weather. So if you have a nice do-it-yourself canopy or a backdrop, you don't want to be using it outside if it's really windy out, that kind of thing. So just making sure that you don't choose decor that's not suited for the time of day or the weather conditions.
So again, it sounds easy, right? I hear like, but who's putting it together? You're sending it to them, right? You put it in a nice box, you send it to them, they have 2 days beforehand. It is obviously their responsibility then to put it together, to guard it in case of damage. What happens if it's damaged? So I think the first question is, you're just supplying the materials. It is up to them to then put it together.
Yeah, kind of. So we do provide a lot of tools so that will help you every step of the way. So you're not on your own. Once we deliver those items, you actually have access to a 24/7 helpline. So if you want someone to personally walk you through the setup, tell you exactly where to put the lights in your venue, we are totally there for you. And there's also detailed setup instructions in the box, and we have YouTube videos. So it's really simple. But that probably even makes it sound overcomplicated, because honestly, all you need to do is just take those uplights, set them on the floor up against the wall, push a button to get your color, and you're done. So it's honestly so easy, and you could set up a whole room of uplighting in like 20 minutes.
Right. But of course, obviously the wedding day, there's a lot going on. I mean, I can't even tell you how many times I've had a bride that says, well, I want to be part of the, putting together the centerpiece. And you're like, no, because you're going to be so stressed out. Have you heard from brides that they're the ones that are actually doing it, or have they given it to somebody else? Because I can't imagine that a bride wants to take that moment, especially when most venues only give you a couple of hours setup time anyway.
Yeah, we do there's some brides, believe it or not, that will do that in the morning. Like I said, pop over for 20 minutes, especially if you're going to do a quick walkthrough or meet with the venue coordinator. It's a great time to just set those up right then and there. But another simple way is just task one of your friends or family members to do it. That's what most of our clients do. So they'll just say, okay, the brother or the cousin or whoever is just going to get that box of uplights, and they're going to go set them up the morning of. And, since the instructions are right in the box, it's as simple as just handing it right off to someone that can help you out that day.
Marcy?
I just wanted to find out, where is the background to the lighting aspect? Is that something that you've always been into? Were you working in that field beforehand?
Well, that's interesting. So no, this kind of is something I stumbled into almost a decade ago now. And at the time I was actually going to law school, but planning my own wedding. And I really wanted lighting for my wedding, but the price tag was just never going to work with my budget. But I was determined, and I was going to find a way. So what I decided to do is just start researching lighting. And so I did a lot of reading. I bought a lot of products. I tested them myself. And I eventually kind of figured out the secret recipe for wedding lighting, some of the different products and how to use them. And from that, I started just writing up instructions, something that would be simple and easy for anyone to use. So just like me, I could hand this off to a friend and they could go and set up all the lighting themselves as well, all without having that kind of technical knowledge or background. So that's kind of how everything got started. And I think that's how we're able to translate and make it so easy for clients, because I started this not knowing anything about lighting myself. So I always say, if I could do it without knowing anything, trust me, you can do it too.
And you've been doing this for a decade, is that correct?
Yeah. So just over 9 years now.
That's incredible. And out of those 9 years, obviously there's some stories that can probably be told about, some of the things that went really great, and maybe a couple of stories about what to avoid. And that's really where I want to focus. What are some things that people need to avoid when thinking about doing it yourself and ordering? Where do you so one of my main questions is, when does it get to a point that you say, you know what, you need to have somebody else that it needs to get involved? What size of an event does most people go, you know what, maybe I need a day of person. Maybe I do need, some additional help. Is there kind of a moment that go, okay, yeah, once we hit 150 people, maybe I need somebody to help me with this?
Yeah, I would say it all comes down to every individual and who they have available as kind of their team. So it's really, depends. We've actually had some clients that set up an entire concert themselves with our uplighting. This was like 500 uplights that they set up, and
Wow.
it's all just a matter of making sure that you've got enough people and think ahead about it. So
Yes.
what I always tell people is just say, come up with your day of checklist. Here's everything that needs to happen the day of the wedding.
Right.
Now, who do we have that can help out, and how much time do they have available? So kind of just map that out and just make sure you've got someone that you can pencil in for uplighting and someone who can plug in the monogram light. And as long as you've got that covered, I'd say you're good to go. It doesn't really matter the number of guests. I think it just matters that you've kind of planned it out and you've got someone responsible for each item on your to-do list.
And do you have a lot of event planners that are, part of your Rent My Wedding family? Like, do you have a lot of event planners that then rent stuff from you just because it's an easier process than maybe having to go through an AV company or through a hotel, location?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, probably at least half of our clients are event professionals. So we work with wedding planners, DJs, venues, sometimes even florists for the pin spotting.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we have a lot of vendors that just find, they'd rather just take care of all the rentals. They can get it all for their client. And the nice thing too is vendors can upcharge it a little bit, and it becomes a nice way to make an extra income stream that way. So
Yep.
you have a whole menu of rentals that you offer, just mark it up a little to accommodate for your services and your time in doing the setup. And it's really kind of a win-win.
Well, and I'm glad that you said 50% of your clients are event professionals, because I was about to say, man, if everybody's coming to you for event rentals and you've made it so easy, it's like, what am I doing? What's my job? But
very Amazon Prime.
I know it is, right? It is very Amazon Prime. I mean, I love the whole concept. Why did you even start this company? I mean, I know that you said that you were in law school and you were doing your own wedding. Was that really the starting point where you went, you know what, I got to do something about this?
It was, yeah. It was even beyond that. I was also frustrated because I was trying to plan my wedding in Maryland, but it would take place in Wisconsin, my hometown. And it was just, there were no online options at that point. So every vendor needed me to go in person. It was hard to get pricing. So it just was something that I thought really needed to be fixed and something that needed a solution. So I wanted to do something about it. And as it happened, I first started out just kind of like a side hustle, putting up classified ads, wanting to make back the money I'd spent on buying the lighting.
Right.
And as it turned out, there was so much interest that I had to buy more lighting than I even needed for my wedding. And once I kind of saw that interest, that's what kind of pushed me over the edge and said, okay, let's just do this. I'm going to go full on into rentals and we're going to see what happens.
Well, because you said you were going for your law degree, correct? Did I hear that correctly, that you were in law school?
Yeah. So I passed the bar, did all that, worked for a law firm. So it was definitely a tough choice. I had worked so hard for that and spent
I was about to say,
years.
A couple of coins,
right? What did your family or your friends think you were crazy when you were like, oh yeah, I'm going to go into wedding rentals?
Yeah, I mean, it was ridiculous. People are looking at me like, oh, so you just passed the bar, but you want to go sell lights on the internet? Like, what?
I can totally see that.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm just telling everyone, believe me, I know it's going to work. But no one even knew what an uplight was. So it made it even harder to try to explain to people what the heck I was doing.
Right. Well, and that's the thing, is I tell people all the time, you can make a really ugly room pretty with a switch of a light. I mean, it's amazing what Uplights does. I mean, that's why, and not to say anything, but that's why I bought my own uplighting, because I did the same thing. I got really tired of having to deal with AV companies, and there was always an additional charge and then a labor charge for installation. And all of a sudden, it was easier for me to just buy it and rent it at a really low price to my clients versus continuously having to go out and get it. So I totally understand. I don't want to get into the rental business, FYI, just if you're out there. I don't want to get into the rental business, but I can totally see it. Here you are, just, you're a lawyer. I mean, oh my God, my whole family would be like, woohoo, he passed something. Yay! I mean, and then to go all of a sudden and say, you know what, there's this thing called the internet. I
Your
mean,
mother would have loved that, Keith.
right? Oh,
For
I'm
you.
sure. Yeah, probably. But and 10 years ago, we're not talking about the same internet that we have today. I mean, 10 years ago, we were still kind of, evolving when it comes to the internet. I mean, and not to pull punches, but honestly, people really thought 10 years ago internet was for porn. All of a sudden, oh no, I'm going to have a business that rents lights. So,
I'm sick of the shopping. I'm just saying.
she's like, I'm a shopper. I'm not into that. But, so you started with lights. Then what was the next thing? What was like, okay, I've got lights. What do I do next? I mean, did people start asking you for additional stuff and that's why you started branching out?
Yeah, it's kind of a combination. So people would ask for things, and then I also just kind of wanted to go beyond and make it a one-stop shop for everything you could need for your wedding decor.
Right.
So I started with uplighting because that's just what I needed for my wedding, but then got into things like gobos to do monogram lights, pin spotting, different types of special effect lights. So we could do starry night lighting on the ceiling or water effect lighting, and just having some fun with all the different types of lighting, whether it's a wedding or just a special event.
Right.
And from there, I started looking for what are some big ticket items that some brides are just priced out of. So it kind of went down to my core of, wanting to have something for my wedding, but not being able to afford it. And I wanted to make more options for couples that were in the same boat. So photo booth was one of those things where, at the time, 10 years ago, it was expensive because a photographer had to take the whole day to go there. They had their, really expensive photography equipment, the whole booth, everything. So it was just something really expensive if you had to hire someone to do it. So we kind of invented, I guess, the first small little portable photo booth that you can operate yourself. It was automated. So it was a matter of just popping open a tripod with a monitor, and it has a touch screen, and guests can do the photo booth all on their own.
I'm already there.
What other rental companies are you involved with aside from lighting and that realm?
Yeah, so at that time, I actually started a company called Rent My Photo Booth, just a spinoff, basically focusing solely on photo booths so that it could market for both weddings as well as events. And in addition to the photo booths, we also did some other things like backdrops and canopies and other big ticket decor items that, again, kind of breaks it down, makes it really easy, and something that anyone can set up.
Wow. It sounds like you really, honestly, you really connected with a segment that probably was underserved when you first came on the market. How have things changed since that time? Obviously the world has changed dramatically. I mean, obviously, Brooke brought it up, Amazon Prime,
I was afraid for my job for a good 5 minutes, and I'm like, never mind, girl.
Right.
Go on.
But how do you compete with that kind of world with Amazon Prime? I mean, obviously, it's great that you have a lot more products that people can now then go to one-stop shop, so to speak, much like Amazon. But how do you continue to show value to people that say, I can still get this off of Amazon. If I'm a DIY, if I'm a do it yourself, why can't I go to Amazon and build it myself? Why do I have to go to Rent My Wedding?
Yeah, well, two things. So first off, it's usually still going to be cheaper to rent it with us because we have just the most affordable pricing out there, I think. So we keep it really cost effective for you. So you can save money. It's going to be cheaper than owning the equipment. And on top of that, we use only professional grade equipment. So especially when it comes to lighting, that's one thing I always like to kind of warn people about.
Right.
A lot of the lighting you see on Amazon, it's made in China, and it's going to maybe hold up for one event, but maybe not even make it through that whole wedding.
Yep.
And we've just had horror stories. We have had clients calling us the night before the wedding saying, my uplights I bought on Amazon are not working, or I can't figure out what disc size I need for the gobo because it doesn't have any instructions. So there's a lot that can go wrong when you buy the really cheap lighting on Amazon. So I am a huge proponent, especially for something as important as a wedding,
Right.
making sure you're using professional, high quality equipment.
And what's the turnaround time? If somebody were to contact you, how quickly would you be able to get them the products that they'll need?
We can actually do everything same day. So as long as you place an order by 3 p.m., we can get it shipped out that same day. And that includes
Really?
custom gobo discs and everything else.
Now, is it like one of those things where, you hear, at 1 a.m. it says, $5.95 for this amazing product and plus shipping and handling. And the shipping and handling is 3 times or 4 times the cost of the product. I mean, how does that shipping work?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked, because that was another thing that really got me when I was planning my wedding. You found this great price and a great vendor, and all of a sudden, all these extra fees added up, and suddenly it's not even in the budget anymore. So that's another thing that I'm really big on, is being transparent. There's no extra fees, and shipping is always free. So no matter what you order, it's going to be free shipping to you and free return.
Really? I'm a
Even
little.
if it's a rush day?
Yeah. What? Say that again.
I'm 2 weeks waiting on
even-
my
I was gonna say,
Amazon Prime
even-
body wash. How are you going to fix that problem?
Right. But even if it's rushed?
Even if it's rushed?
Well, we can ship out same day for free, and then the transit time just depends on how long it takes to get to your zip code. So let's say if you're in Miami where we are, we can get it to you the next day for free.
Right.
If you are, let's say if you're in California and you need it tomorrow, then we just charge you our discounted FedEx Express shipping rate.
Okay, so I'm almost scared to ask this question. Do you provide online support to brides? I mean, are you also an event planner company?
We don't do event planning, so we leave that to the professionals like you and Marcy. And
Thank you.
Definitely a talent and a skill, and something that we don't even want to get into, because I think it's important to focus on what you do best. And for us, that's rentals. And I always say, if you're looking for help with planning, find yourself a great wedding or event planner.
Right, 100%. Well, what about, you're in this industry, you're renting to people, you're expanding the ability for people to really have this amazing event, even on a smaller budget, especially now, since a lot of events are going into backyards and private intimate spaces, which is probably a big part of your original business, because, this would be a way for even, small wedding couples to be able to really blow up their visuals.
Mm-hmm.
What about having to go after people for not returning stuff? Like, what do you do when somebody says, I'm sorry, I forgot it. I don't know where it is. Oh, those lights were amazing. I want to keep them. But seriously, they're just saying, oh, they got lost in the mail.
Yeah. So a couple of things. So we basically, we charge replacement fees if items are not returned, and we'll always give you a grace period if you need some time. So if things get busy, just call us. We always give you a couple of days complimentary to get those returns into FedEx.
Right.
And aside from that, if you're not returning, then you just be responsible for the replacement fees, and those are published on our website. And the nice thing too is we're really transparent with the FedEx process, so you are considered returned as soon as FedEx scans in those items for return. And
Right.
your return tracking number is actually on your reservation, so you can see it yourself, and you'll even get an email once FedEx scans those packages. So that process usually goes pretty smoothly, where it's just a matter of you return, FedEx will scan it, you get a receipt, and you're good to go.
Do you work with All Seated, by the way? Because you mentioned something about we will help you design the room. I didn't know if you had ever reached out to All Seated, because we had the CMO of All Seated on the show like week before last, and it's an amazing company. But I mean, I love the idea of being able to draw out the room and show where the lighting would go. Have you guys ever thought about connecting with them?
That's a really good idea. Yeah, we definitely need to do that, because typically what we're doing right now is, couples can always send us their floor plan. Usually it's a PDF, and we'll mark it up for them, showing where they could put the uplights or the gobo and all those things. But yeah, that's a great idea to start getting connected with All Seated.
Well, because that's what I'm saying is, like, you're already, helping partners and helping your couples figure out where the lighting would go, and I felt like that was probably a natural bridge. So, remember me when that happens. Just saying. Yay. But what about like private residences and things like that? Do they need to send you some pictures in order for you to see it? Because, a lot of times Brooke and I will go into an event, and what we think we're going to do is completely different than what we end up setting, because it
Surprise.
doesn't, right? Because it doesn't quite look right. Like once we get the furniture in, and again, thank you all seated because that's changed a lot, but you get everything in and all of a sudden it's like, oh wait, this doesn't quite look the way I anticipated. Do you get that? Do you have people that are like, oh, can I send you pictures of my backyard?
Like there's a pillar or a wall or something that it's not showing the light off the best.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot about my pool.
Yes. Yeah, we definitely had people who they'll send in pictures and then we can give them even more detailed advice, where to put different types of lighting. And the nice thing with the rentals that we do anyways, a lot of times it is pretty cookie cutter. When you get into furniture and florals and things like that, it's definitely a different story. But at least for the things that we're renting, uplights are always going to look great on the walls. The gobo's always going to look great on the dance floor. Pin spots on the cake and the centerpieces. So luckily a lot of that we can pretty much give you a really concrete idea ahead of time where to put it. It's going to look great. So I think fortunately for these types of decor, you can pretty well know where to put things ahead of time and there's not too many surprises. It's all about just kind of planning ahead and, making that plan.
Right.
Is it just uplighting that she does or?
No, she does a lot more. What else do you do?
I'm just gonna be rude.
No, that's good. No. Actually, that's a great question. What else are you doing?
Florals or anything like that as well?
No florals. So what we do is, I'll give you a quick rundown. So we do uplighting, monogram lights or gobos, texture lighting, pin spots for centerpieces and cakes, chair covers, sashes, canopies, backdrops, pipe and drape, photo booths, chandeliers. I think that covers
chandeliers.
It. Oh, pipe and drape would deliver that.
I know. We're like, both of our ears are starting to perk up. We're like, what? Wait. Chandeliers, that's amazing. But okay, so let's talk about chandeliers and pipe and drape. Big ticket items, right? Normally, not
easy install. So
not easy install. Exactly. How do you handle that? How is that? How do you make sure? Because insurance liability, I'm sorry, is like the number one thing that is coming to my head. I have, you have a DIY bride that's gone into the Ritz-Carlton and they've ordered pipe and drape and chandeliers from you. How do you make sure you protect yourself, the company, and as far as insurance and what kind of sign-offs are there? There's got to be a way.
Yeah, so the first thing I guess I should clarify, our pipe and drape system is a little different than what you're probably envisioning. So, typically it's the steel poles, the bases, and sometimes you need lift trucks to get in and set this all up. So this is one of those things where I said, I wonder if there's a different way to do pipe and drape. So we came up with more of a tripod-based system. So it's actually portable. You can just throw it in a bag over your shoulder, carry it into the venue, and the tripod supports hold everything up, and then you can just raise it to the height that you want. So, you're not climbing on ladders or doing anything crazy. It's just really simple to set up on your own without any experience. And then we use only polypremier flame retardant drapes. So we basically just have a system that's going to be foolproof. We've tested it extensively before we started renting it. So that's kind of how we go with the pipe and drape. And the chandeliers are designed for use with those systems. So there's a special connector piece. So if you're doing our canopy, you can actually there's a clip that'll clip it to the middle of the canopy.
Wow. So wait, so the canopy is a 4-pole tripod system. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly.
Incredible. I have to tell you, I'm kind of
I'm gagging. I'm gagging.
Right? I am completely
out of the truck to put them chandeliers up in that pipe and drape.
I know. I mean,
I'm like, you better hire somebody else, boo.
I know, right?
I'll watch them do it.
I'm just saying, it's making it sound so incredibly easy for somebody that needs to do it on their own. What about, if we put I may put you on the spot a little bit, because if you put your pipe and drape and let's say a professional pipe and drape next to each other, visually, am I going to see a major difference?
Nope. And that's the thing with all of our rentals. You can put, our lighting next to a professional's lighting, our backdrop next to a traditional style pipe and drape backdrop. It's going to look exactly the same. The only thing that's different is just going to be, what's behind those curtains. And there's a tripod versus the traditional base and pole.
And then how long is your traditional pipe and drape? What is it sold in inches, foot, yards? What's
12-foot sections. So you can do 12 feet wide and just do increments of 12 feet as wide as you need it.
And is it only at 12 feet, or can you shorten it down to 8 feet or 6 feet?
Yeah, it's adjustable. So with that 12 foot, you could actually shrink it down if you have a smaller space.
All right. Call me impressed. Call me impressed. And it's obvious that you're an overachiever, because you didn't just stop at being a lawyer and creating an amazing company that nobody else was doing at the time. You decided that you're going to get into magazines.
Yes, so that's one of my creative outlets.
Crazy.
So that's what I love to do, just connecting with all these amazing vendors in the industry. It's probably the most fun that I have. And we have columnists like Preston Bailey and Ron Van Israel, the Budget Savvy Bride, and they share amazing advice in every issue. And we also feature real weddings and DIY tips. So that's a great resource. You guys can check it out on our website. We have a free digital copy on the website, or you can buy the print edition on Amazon.
Amazing. So you just decided along the way that you're like, you know what? I need a magazine. Is that right? But is that a separate company? Are you? I mean, because obviously you're the CEO, so you're looking over, and I'm starting to see multiple buckets, so to speak. You've got the photo booth company, you've got the photography company, you've got the Rent My Wedding company, and you oversee all of it, and there's people that are in charge of that, or are you really hands-on and that everything's still your baby?
I have to say I have an amazing team who has made it possible to kind of be able to expand and branch off into these other areas. So yeah, I have some great people that can run everything day to day for me. And that has just been such an amazing journey, developing that and watching it grow and getting to the point where we are today.
I mean, I know, by the way, Marcy was one of your winners recently, actually, for one of your Rent My Wedding awards. So I was like, yay, Marcy!
Congratulations, Marcy.
Yeah.
She's always pulling awards.
I was a runner-up. I wasn't a winner. No. I was a runner-up. No, I'm good with that, because I was looking at the other weddings.
You have enough, Connie.
Yeah, I know.
You have a waffle.
God knows. I know. I'm looking at
and awards.
Too many of that. But I find that amazing. When did the awards start becoming part of the company?
This is actually just our second year of the awards. So it's something new that we wanted to do, basically because we work with so many vendors through our rental company. We wanted to kind of just give back and say thank you. And I think it's a nice way to be able to recognize some of these great vendors and give them some press, and we'll give shout outs on our social media and on the magazine. So it's kind of something fun and nice to do. And I love connecting with vendors and getting to know people that way.
Marcy?
So with this Best of Weddings, that comes out in next month, right?
It does, yeah. So our Best of the Best issue is coming out in actually just a couple of weeks here, and that's going to feature all of the best vendors. So we have a best vendor in every category, and we also have best weddings. You can see the really gorgeous weddings that were voted on our Instagram account and by our magazine readers.
And that's also across the country, is that right?
It is, yeah, nationwide. So these are vendors from all across the U.S. and kind of bringing it together and saying these are the top 5 vendors in each country, in each category across the U.S.
Where did you get started? Where did all this actually start to percolate when you, 10 years ago?
It really it started in my apartment, and it was a crazy disaster. But yeah, it was just, a side hustle to make money, pay off student loans. And, I started buying the lighting equipment. I would pack boxes in my little studio apartment, and it kind of just snowballed from there. So I upgraded to a 2-bedroom apartment to store all the boxes. Yeah, we were real glamorous in the beginning, and it just got to a point where I had to decide, am I going to do rentals? I'm going to do law, and the more I thought about it, I just loved the idea of being able to create something of my own, and I felt like I was really helping people.
Right.
Because at the time, there was just no one else doing this, so I really wanted to go with my passion and providing something new for couples that were on a budget or even just looking to save money and have more options.
Well, and I'm kind of impressed with you because, I'm sure at the very beginning, you probably got a lot of pushback from the community at large, I'm assuming, right? And
Yeah, I got some DJ hate mail for sure. It was
Yeah,
not
I'm hating you for like 1.30 minute, and I'm like, but
right. I could totally see that. I could totally see that where, it's like you get pushed
I'm like,
back
this
with,
girl's putting me out of a job.
right.
And now they're your renters.
Yeah.
So now we actually work together. And so, over time, I think I've been able to explain it a little more to people, especially vendors. We're not taking away from those clients who want a full service experience. There's, I think, just a huge market, and there's people that can afford full service vendors, and there's just people who can't. And honestly, those people were never going to be your client anyway. So we're really just helping people that didn't have any other option.
She said that.
I know, right? Because that's one of the things is that when you start a company or you start anything, there's a local event planner that actually started a course for people to, for brides to be able to figure out how to do their own wedding. And she did. She got a lot of pushback originally. And I was saying, damn, I wish I had thought of that. I mean, it's like, oh my God, that's such a great idea. But at the end of the day, there's enough clients, there's enough people out there that need a whole different kind of world of help. And there's enough money to go around. I think that if somebody has a great idea, why not support them? Because sooner or later, you may need to use them. It all comes full circle. And at some point, you may need them. There's going to be opportunities that, Rent My Wedding says, we need somebody on site for this. It's a really big client. We need somebody on site to take care of it. So, I love hearing both stories. I am kind of fascinated at the fact that you seem very calm and very put together, and yet you have this it's a big company. So I mean, how do you kind of keep that calm, that rational? Is that the lawyer part of you coming out that says, there's an answer for everything, as long as we have as much description as possible, it's going to be fine?
Yeah, I think totally. That's one thing where I say I'm actually glad that I went to law school, because I learned so much, and I don't think I could have started this company without all of that training that I got there. So they kind of teach you, think like a lawyer, and it's this whole new way of looking at things where before it was really easy for me to get stressed or overwhelmed, and there's too many things, and how would you figure it all out? And in law school, they kind of showed us, if you just stop and think, you can figure out anything. And then as long as you've planned every detail out, then everything's going to be okay. So I kind of just take that approach where, the beginning years of the company, we figured out every single step of the rental process. Here's everything that could go wrong. Here's everything we need to safeguard, and have an answer for every question. So I think I've gotten to a point where, if you would have talked to me 5 years ago, 10 years ago, different story, but now it's really cool to be able to kind of just see everything working, when you put all those protocols into place. And that's really, I think, what makes it what it is, and why we can be so, confident and relaxed about it and give all of these guarantees.
Yeah, because it wasn't always like that. It always takes time to build. They always say overnight success is not overnight.
Now, do you still practice law, or are you just doing this full time now, or is it still?
Oh, that's an interesting question. Yeah.
Yeah. The only time I practice law is when I have friends or family that beg me for help. So
she said, "I want the win."
I try not to.
She's like,
the win. But I want the win.
That's funny, and obviously you have to keep up your license, right? So you're still having to take the refresher courses and stuff. My mother's a lawyer, so that's why I'm like,
yeah. So I have to keep up on all that. So I still, do all the training, all of that, and it does help for, just keeping up with rental agreements and different things with the company, getting my own trademark, dealing with copyrights, those kind of things. So it's something I kind of use, just not, in the way that people would typically think of practicing law.
What's a big don't for brides?
A big don't. I think the biggest thing is just failing to plan. We get a lot of couples that are calling us the last minute. I'm telling you, it's like Thursday and they need uplighting for that Saturday. So there's so many couples out there that they just didn't think about decor specifically, and it gets down to the wire, and all of a sudden they've stumbled upon Pinterest, or someone mentions something and they realize that they didn't plan that. So they're getting a lot of their lighting at the very last minute because it's just an afterthought. So I think a big don't is just not thinking about decor or not thinking enough about decor.
Right.
And, in fact, we have a whole decor checklist. So a lot of times your wedding planning checklist might just say, plan your reception decor. We actually have a free checklist that anyone can download, and it goes into a ton of detail. There's so many items on this checklist of every little detail you want to plan for the ceremony decor and the reception decor.
Wow. Marcy?
So what's the next step for Rent My Wedding? What do you see in like the next 5 years?
Yeah, right. World domination. Done. Every city, every place, international. Oh, by the way, are you international yet?
We are not. No. So far, we're just in the continental U.S.
But soon. It's a part of the world domination.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah,
have me continental. I was fine.
Right. Well, I mean, because you already added the awards, you added the magazine. What's next for Rent My Wedding?
Yeah, so something we just recently launched a few months ago is actually a vendor website. So it's called rentmyvendor.com. And that's something we'll be expanding more. And the idea behind it was that, we have all these clients all across the country that are using our rentals, and we'll get questions like, who's a good DJ, who's a good florist, what's, another vendor we can refer. So we started this website with the idea that, vendors can sign up for free, and then our clients can get access to all of these amazing vendors. So it's kind of a win-win. And that website is called Rent My Vendor.
Wow. And that's a separate website from Rent My Wedding?
Exactly. Yep. So for the vendor directory, you just go to rentmyvendor.com.
Oh, excellent.
And you're located in Miami, correct? Florida?
Yeah, Miami.
Oh, yeah. I got to be nice to her.
Amazing.
She's down the road. Yeah.
Right? Well, no, can people come and pick it up and save on the shipping, or is it shipping only?
Yeah, we do. If you're local, you can always come to our location. You can pick it up at our warehouse, and we do a 10% discount if you're doing a local pickup.
Amazing. Amazing. I have a couple of follow-up questions. So first of all, are the orchids behind you real?
They are.
They are? Oh my God. I was totally thinking like they are gorgeous. I was like, oh my God, those orchids are gorgeous.
So everybody missed the lovely whatever she's sitting on couch or loves.
I know it's
that's a chair, I'm gagging.
Yeah, she loves it. She loves it. And then, and we talked about world domination. What is the one thing that has changed dramatically because of COVID? What have you seen? What has been a big shift in the industry because of COVID?
Yeah, I think a big shift, besides the fact that no one's having events,
right,
is there's a lot of focus on, of course, like cleanliness and just thinking about how many different people are going to be in the venue. So, we're still doing some events during the pandemic. And the really interesting thing is that people are actually telling us, we'd rather set this up ourselves because we didn't want a crew of strangers coming in for setup and tear down. So we have like the father of the bride is calling and he's getting everything ready because he wants to do it themselves and keep it small and make sure they know every person who's going to be in the venue. So that's definitely been a big change, is just people wanting to do it themselves for kind of the health reasons.
I'm going to be the a-hole here. So did COVID really help boost you a bit? Because just thinking well, that's true.
And I think everybody died for a little bit, but once weddings started coming back, did you see an uptick because obviously people are doing more DIY?
Yeah, I think, the weird thing is that when the economy starts doing that so great, and when we have things like this, it is something where DIY rentals become more popular. So definitely, I think it's something that brings more people to the do-it-yourself option at this kind of time.
Right. Right. And then do you ever, what kind of great letters do you get? Because I know one of the things I love about being an event planner is those random moments where we're walking to the theater or we're walking somewhere in a wedding that I had done 10 years ago or 8 years ago, the bride and the family say, Keith, oh my God. And everybody comes up. And of course I'm like, oh, which wedding was this? Oh my God. Wait, but then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, that's right. But there's just that joy and love because you become part of their day, and so what are some of the great stories about the fact that you save their day?
Yeah, that's what I love. I think that's what keeps me going. That's what I'm passionate about, is just hearing from people who say, oh my gosh, I never thought my wedding could look like that. And it wasn't going to until I found this affordable option.
Right.
Those letters make my day. We've also had some crazy ones, good crazy.
Yeah.
So we had a bride who took the uplighting and she actually put it all under her huge poofy wedding dress. And so she uplit herself.
I thought she said poopy at first.
No,
not poopy. I'm like, oh wow.
Put it under a poopy dress. That's funny. That's awesome. Did she send
listen, poop. Uplights can turn poop into gold.
No.
You know.
Anyway, no, but did she send you pictures of it? Is that how you knew she did it?
There's a picture of her in her uplighting wedding dress.
Oh my God. You have to do a best of issue of your magazine where you have the best DIY moments. I think that would be amazing. Not just a wedding planner or event planner awards, but like individual awards, like best, who used our equipment the best, in the most interesting way. Because I would read that magazine. I mean, I would absolutely look that up because, there is no limit to people's creativity. And I do not mind borrowing people's ideas.
I'm like, well, then Keith send me a picture because I don't do all that because I'm lazy.
Yeah, no, she's like, no. What am I? Hold on there. Wait on. Well, so any last words that you'd like to share with our behind the veil people that are listening to this? What about Rent My Weddings, about you, about the future of Rent My Weddings?
Sure, yeah. So I guess for anyone who's a couple or planning their own wedding or event, definitely check out Rent My Wedding, whether you're looking to save money or if it's health concerns, or honestly, if you just like a good deal. We actually work with a lot of high-end clients who just want value in what they're actually spending their money on. So no matter what you're doing, there's a lot of great options over at our website. It's rentmywedding.com. And for the vendors that are watching, we have some great programs. We do referral programs. We do vendor rewards programs if you're renting with us directly. So check us out. We love working with vendors and doing referrals.
Well, you've been amazing, and I can't say thank you enough. I mean, I can't believe that much time already went past. So, Mary, thank you so much for being part of Behind the Veil. I thank you so much. If you're out there and you are looking to do it yourself, please go over to rentmywedding.com. Her information has been popped up all throughout the show, but also on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. It's at Rent My Wedding because they're across the board. Basically, any social media platform, just look for at Rent My Wedding. Marie, thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Keith, if you ever book someone prettier than me on the show, I'll kill you.
Well, well, all right. So thank you, Marie. And now just a quick word from our sponsor, and we'll be right back with After the Veil.
I, Ava, wonder if our guests would be here on time.
If we had a custom wedding website.
With our ceremony details on it.
And I, Taylor, would pick Zola to have and to host our wedding website.
Ours even matched our Zola invites. The whole thing was so freaking easy.
Do you think Zola could have made planning your perfect wedding easier?
We do.
I do.
We've helped 1 million couples plan their weddings with free websites, registry, and invitations. Get started for free at Zola.com.
Wow, guys, what a great show.
I meant to say
Really
your
great
tires.
show. I learned so much.
I had that all planned out.
And welcome to our very first ever After the Veil. Yay!
Yeah, how
love this.
Now, did everybody count the seconds you gave me just to go pee right now? Yeah, how about that?
I give you 30 seconds. Anyway, oh my God, was she?
I'm a quick peer.
Honestly, I'm a little kind of blown away by our guest just then because
I have so many mixed emotions and ideas.
But like overachiever. Oh my God.
I am like shocked. I mean, I literally didn't expect a lot of what she said.
Yeah.
And then it all was clicking when she was saying it. I thought it was great that
I was just kind of blown away by
But that's the way law school. I mean, I saw the firm. Maybe that's why. I saw that too. But listen, good for her. I ain't mad. At first, I was pissed. I was like, really? And my hair looks this good right now?
Oh,
and then
no.
I was like, as time went by, and I'm like, okay, I'm still going to have a job because I was like,
Well,
and then I'm like, wait a minute, you're talented. These people that are ordering things don't have what I have. So I'm like, okay, I'm fine with that. That cooled down after like 25 minutes.
I'm just saying, she's smart, she's beautiful, she has an amazing.
Yeah, she never did tell me what she was sitting on.
It's just kind of incredible. And to be honest, before this segment, I personally might have written off Rent My Wedding as just a fly by night kind of thing. Now, not so much. Now I'm kind of like,
I was like, what?
You know,
we were friends, and now I'm like, okay, yeah, this works.
More than 50% are renting from her who are professionals.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, you know, she's really become a partner to the event industry. Yeah, so stupid smart. I mean, oh my God.
Can you edit out the kill you thing? Because I didn't mean to say that. I was supposed to slash your tire. I'm gonna kill you, right? I need you to pay me. I mean, I'm gonna never kill you.
Honey, we're still live. This is just after the veil. No, we're still live. It's just you know, it's just adding. Well, no, because I was talking about, you know, the first season. Look at you with your White Claw. So
I'm gonna get this sponsored, by the way. I've got an idea. We'll talk about that later.
Oh my goodness. Well, no, because we spent our first year and this is my favorite part. It's like afterwards we would all sit around and start talking about the segment, and I was like, we really need to include this as part of the show.
This isn't pushing me to be honest and mean. That's all it is. I mean, let's talk about it. It is what it is.
Well, and, you know, I'm just kind of so impressed with the fact, and you know, I can't imagine just being her family, and they're like, you want to do what? You want to do what? We just paid for your law degree, and now you want to go do what? You want to rent the lights? Oh
I
my
mean,
God.
my mind was changed though, so I mean,
yeah,
you know what I mean.
It was kind of impressive
coming from, because you know what I do, and that's a direct like, okay, I don't need her anymore, and then I'm like, yeah, actually, I just set that up, so I kind of do.
Well,
but,
and I feel like it's a viable option.
So, I mean, I'm not mad at it. There's everybody wants to get married, right?
Well, Marcy, at least there's not a rent my invite.
See, and the thing is she's safe. She was smart because no one can do it.
DIY, honestly, people always say, "Oh, I'm going to just make my own," and I'm like, "Okay, you just try." I hear the horror stories afterwards. Please, can you help me?
and to be honest, as much as and that, you know, and honestly, I was thinking also, it's like, you know, what we do. There's a real art form to what we do, and there's never going to be a lack of people that need an event planner or an event professional, and good for her. You know, honestly, good for her for doing this and for creating. You know, seriously.
Mean, coming in, I hated her within the first 20 minutes. I'm like 15. I'm like, oh, I almost was like, I'm getting off. I'm not doing this. I'm not letting her let me lose my job.
Oh and
then
God.
I just sat here, and then she changed my mind by the end. So.
I mean, the
lilies helped, I suppose, or the orchids maybe, but it was really the blue couch.
I was like, oh yeah, the blue couch. Well, the fact that those orchids were real, come on, really, that's amazing.
That was the height that impressed you. Is that what it was?
No, I just how beautiful they were, because they looked like they were going to be fake. I mean, to be honest, I thought they were.
Well, the birds right here are live. They're just in the birds are alive. They're just in hibernation.
Dude,
you're not better to play with me, sir.
Oh my God!
I mean, the possibilities are endless now. As a professional, you can supplement in with what you already have. That's like a great thing. I mean, instead of going out and buying more, because you don't normally use all that. You know, I mean, if you have like a huge event and you need like 50 uplights, and you only have, let's say, 35, you know, rather than going out and buying 20 more.
Right. I love it. I mean, I love the whole thing. I can't wait to be able to use it. You know,
you're definitely going to have to undercut our price. I mean, clearly now we have to go to the website, look at what it's charging.
No. And honestly, but since we're after the veil, I do want to bring up that we are going to be doing a wedding show on February 14th called Love is in the Air. So if you go to our Facebook page, there is actually a Love is in the Air event page. It is going to be an open air, socially distant wedding show with a marketplace. So we have over a dozen market vendors, so you'll be able to shop and work on your wedding. And we're going to include an option to do your own micro wedding the day of the event, so you'll be able to elope legally on the day of the event. And then also we're going to be doing a vow renewal at sunset. So I hope everybody is going to come to it, because it's over 30,000 square feet just off of Los Olas Circle. And it is part of the Fort Lauderdale Beach, so part of the bid process. So we have the city of Fort Lauderdale, or the Fort Lauderdale Beach organization, is sponsoring the event. Yay. And Mike Sipe is going to be a major sponsor. So Mike Sipe, if you're out there, Mike Sipe Entertainment, thank you so much, because they are coming in and doing all the staging, all the sound, all the lighting. It's going to be incredible. So mark your calendars for February 14th. What about you guys? What's going on in your world? What's happening?
I'll let Brooke go first.
Everybody's paused.
Everything is good here.
Curling my hair, putting on lashes, pissing Keith off. You know what I do, Marcy.
The usual.
Me 2 years.
The usual.
I'm kind of, so the 14th thing, actually, I thought was the 22nd for the longest time, until like a month ago,
No,
maybe 2 weeks even.
You're working.
So, I know I'm working. My husband is working with us. What is going on? Because it sounds like a big, huge thing, and COVID's happening. So what's up with that?
So that's why we're doing it.
Throw that out there. Let the kids know.
Yeah. I think that's important to talk about, because it is over 30,000 square feet. It is in a space that doesn't have a ceiling. It is open air. It's on the top floor, actually, of a parking garage that was built specifically with events in mind. So this is a brand new space just opened by the Fort Lauderdale Beach group, and at the top floor of the parking garage was specifically created to be an open air venue. So we're going to be using that and all 30,000 square feet of it, so that way you can socially distance and enjoy the show, so to speak.
Awesome.
People should
I didn't
feel
want people to get discouraged.
No, I feel like it's really important. And Sidoni Naismith with Black Swan is actually sponsoring the sanitation stations. Anna Hess is, Anna Hess is.
I love her.
Anna Hess Events is actually sponsoring the backdrops for brides. So that way, after you get done with your micro wedding, or maybe you just need a photo op, you'll be able to go over to the Anna Hess section, because we're not really calling it booth, because it is open air section, and get your photo. And we'll have several photographers on site that will provide you a free photo of you and your significant other. So it's going to be fun. I'm really looking forward to it.
Exciting.
Yeah, it's really, really, really exciting. So I'm really, really looking forward to it.
What's going on with Marcy?
Yeah, Marcy, you look amazing, by the way.
She does.
Thank you. Thank you.
You really do. I love that blouse.
Working hard on my health and just, taking one day as it comes, and just really having a great time.
Well, and then I also should say, by the way, if anybody's still watching this segment for After the Veil, please hit subscribe if you're on our YouTube channel. We did just hit our 1,000 subscriber, and actually we're at 1,116 subscribers. Yay. So if you're still watching the show, hit subscribe. We love you, and we're very much looking forward to bringing you continued content. And next week, where's my phone? What are we doing next week? Does anybody remember?
Going live at 2 p.m.
Next Tuesday at 2. Next Tuesday at 2.
Who's coming with us?
Huh? What did you say?
Who's coming with us next?
Well, that's why I'm checking, because we have celebrity DJs coming on next week, and then next the 19th, as I do this live on the 22nd, we're going to be doing a show called Hidden Treasures, and we actually have the Boca Country Club. Tara Horner, who is their new events professional, is coming on, and we're going to be doing a segment called Hidden Treasures, and we're going to start talking Boca Lago. No, Boca Country Club or Boca Lago?
Boca Lago.
We've been to that club, but not that one. So yeah,
Boca Lago. And so the thing that we're going to be doing with this particular series of shows is that we're going to be finding these really interesting, cool, unique places that you might not normally thought of, and aren't part of the typical when you type in like wedding venue South Florida. So I'm really excited about having Tara on. And 2 weeks from today, we're going to be doing a thing called Hidden Treasures. And by the way, if you're out there listening to us and you have a hidden treasure, please send it to us. info@keithwillardevents.com, info@keithwillardevents.com, so that way we can reach out to them and have them on the show. Oh my goodness. All right, guys. Well, I feel like this was a nice start to the second season. Congratulations to the both of you.
Thank you.
Congratulations
to you, Keith.
Yeah,
It's awesome.
And congratulations to you on all your amazing awards for so many years.
Oh, shut
for
up.
me and after.
You shut up. Anyway.
Don't love every after.
Pain in the ass. That's what you are. Anyway, all right. And thank you to our Behind the Veil listeners out there on iTunes, iHeartRadio, and Pandora, as well as iHeartRadio, and then also our YouTube videos and our Facebook Live people. Thank you all so much for being a supporter of Behind the Veil, and we promise to continue bringing you really interesting subjects, a straightforward perspective. And remember, these shows are always live and unscripted, so you just never know what somebody might be saying. Not looking at anybody particular, Brooke. Anyway. Oh my God. All right. I love you guys. I love everybody out there. Thank you for being part of Behind the Veil. We will see you next Tuesday at 2. Bye, guys.
Goodbye.
Bye.